bitchup
Oh my god, bitchup
表酱。Hello， 大家好，好久不见，我是鸟鸟。从今天开始呢，表酱的节目会有一些调整。第一个调整呢，就是由于我们3个人比较忙，之后的节目可能没有办法保持稳定的周更节奏，但是没有关系。我们第二个调整呢，是一个好消息，就是开始招募表酱的客座主播啦。什么是客座主播呢？就是如果你愿意做一些节目放到表酱的平台上面来播放，跟大家一起分享你的经验还有你的观点的话，就欢迎你作为我们的客座主播去找选题，找嘉宾，录音发给我们，由我们来完成后期制作，然后放到表酱的平台上面跟大家分享。然后关于这个客座主播，我们有这么5个小的要求。第一个就是希望你是一个了解表酱，然后听过我们节目10期以上的，尤其推荐先听我们的第1期节目，然后了解表酱到底在做什么，它是一个什么样的节目，然后它期待什么。然后第二个条件就是，如果你在性或者亲密关系或者是个人成长等等的上面有一些自己的理解，然后有探索的兴趣。然后第3个呢，就是你可以录5分钟的音频，在音频里面说明一下你要做什么选题，然后你能不能找到合适的嘉宾，或者你用单口的形式来做也可以。然后同时呢，再写一封邮件帮助我们来了解你，告诉我们你是怎么理解表酱在做的事情，同时你为什么想要加入我们。好的，就这么几个小的条件。我也不知道我们会遇到什么样的朋友加入，但是心里还蛮期待的，所以听完这期节目就快点来找我们吧。我们的联系方式是表酱 FN 微信公众号，或者是如果你不知道怎么样搜到我们的话，也可以给我们发私信。然后我们的邮箱是表酱 FN 的拼音，然后 Gmail 邮箱。好的，那今天的第1期呢，就来自我们的第1位客座主播他制作的节目，他的名字叫 Lexie。如果有朋友曾经记得他的话，他是曾经在我们这里录制过一期关于换偶主题的节目，应该有朋友会记得他，然后喜欢他的声音，还有他探索的精神。然后这一次他带来的是一期关于天体营的一个采访。好的，那听完节目就赶紧给我们报名，来跟我们一起做节目吧。我是鸟鸟，拜拜。
表酱的听众大家好，我是客座主播 Lexie。 我是一名心理咨询师，在工作中呢，我试图在一个安全的环境下为来访者提供全新的关系体验。私下里我也是各种生活方式的体验者，比如在上一次节目中与鸟鸟聊到的开放式婚姻与换偶体验，又比如今天会聊到的裸体主义。上一次跟鸟鸟聊完，发现参与表酱节目的录制是一件非常好玩的事情，所以本次我邀请了我的一位好朋友 David 上节目，一起聊了聊我们共同参与的裸体爱好者的社群。我们今天说的裸体爱好者，英语是 nudist， 有的人也会称其为裸体主义、天然主义或者自然主义。大家一下子想到的可能是那些在国外大学中释放压力的裸奔者，或者是欧洲裸体海滩上那些大腹便便的老年人们。公众的印象里，他们要么很激烈很极端，要么很猥琐很变态。但其实这些媒体上的描绘都只是裸体爱好者中非常非常小的一部分而已。 去年我与老公搬到夏威夷之后呢，我们认识了很多当地的裸体爱好者，以及参与了很多当地的裸体派对。我们发现这个社群中的绝大部分人都只是单纯的很享受脱光衣服的自由自在的生活状态而已，完全没有打扰别人的意图。今天的嘉宾 David 就是其中的一位，他是一名兼职的演员与模特，闲暇时间他会组织裸体沙滩的派对与裸体网球比赛。我发现他是一个非常周到的派对组织者，他会尽力让大家都有舒服安全的体验，特别是第一次参与裸体社群活动的人们。他会告诉他们，没有任何脱光衣服的压力，只要按照你喜欢参与的程度就好。因为这是一期英语节目，所以我想简单的说一下我们讨论的内容，以及我对裸体主义的生活方式的感受。之后呢，我们也会在公众号上提供这期节目的文字翻译。我们从 David 如何发现、了解以及参与这个社群的活动开始聊起，说到了我们在成长过程中社会环境对于这个生活方式的一些固有的观念以及反对意见，比如家长会从小就开始让你意识到在别人面前的裸露是羞耻的，比如社会环境会告诉我们裸体是与性紧密相连的，宗教也会告诉我们裸体是不道德的等等。但如果摆脱这些社会化的观念和束缚，我们很难说这样的生活状态是错的。我们聊到这样的社群的存在也是建立在彼此尊重的基础上，同意允许也就是 consent 以及坚决说不是其中很重要的规则。我感动的是当 David 说到自己赤身裸体的时候，其实是他最本真最孩童的状态，而他说他花很多时间组织这样的活动，其实就是想回到这样最初最单纯的状态而已。这也提醒了我们常常在生活中太关注了工作与爱的能力的培养，却忽略了玩乐的重要性。我也很敬佩 David 提到的一位曾患有乳腺癌的裸体爱好者，他说他在派对中非常自在地展示自己被切掉的乳房，以及后来填充的新乳房的样貌。David 最后也说到，其实恐惧才是阻碍人们尝试这样生活方式的一个很大的组成部分。而在我的观察里，很多羞涩的第一次参与裸体派对的人，也是在1小时30分钟之后开始完全适应这样放飞自我的状态。那时候的我才看到他们真正拥有了自己的身体，所谓 own their bodies。我们这期讨论的裸体主义呢，是指在私密环境下大家都彼此同意的裸露身体的行为，这些行为也是完全没有性的意味的，比如在裸体海滩上的派对，或者裸体主义社群的聚会等等。我们不鼓励任何违反当地法律法规的行为，而我理解的裸体主义其实追根溯源，是希望离开衣服的束缚，回归自然，尊重彼此身体的一种处世哲学。你可能会觉得这样社群的人一定是大胆奔放的，但是我也认识了相当一部分内向的，自顾自在沙滩上看书晒太阳，把空间只留给自己的人。在活动中，我也看到了各式各样的身体，有大尺寸小尺寸的，有嫩皮肤老皮肤的，每个人的身体都是完全不一样的样貌，但是却又美得很朴素。这其实跟我们习以为常的在媒体上看到的那些所谓 supermodel 的 super body 相去甚远，可是后者是多么荒唐的遥不可及啊！我们这期节目的录制也是在我们最喜欢最自然的一种全裸状态下录制的，所以在听节目的过程中，如果你是处在一个安全私密的环境，我也想真诚地邀请你试着摆脱衣服的束缚，享受这种全裸的自由。就像 David 说的，他看到越来越多人开始尝试 而却很少看到这样的人离开这样的生活状态。最后，欢迎大家关注表酱 FM 的播客节目与微信公众号，希望大家收听愉快。Hey David.
Hi Lexie.
Hey, so can you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure. So my name is David Barnhart, and I have sort of been into this nudist thing for, I guess, a little over 10 years now. Somewhere in the, 2007, around there, I just saw a thing about nude beaches, and it intrigued me to the point where I had to investigate.
Okay.
What was it all about?
So you said 2007?
It was about 2007, yeah. I just remember seeing stuff on the internet about it, and, I was just like, wow, so many people are into this, and, everyone's, like, so different. Big shapes, little shapes, color, shape, and size, it didn't matter. Like, everyone still had this fun time at a beach without clothing, and everyone seemed like they were together as a group versus all the separates.
Okay. And where were you at that time?
Well, I was living in New York at the time, and the beaches I was seeing were in Florida. So, as my grandparents were living down there, I decided to take a visit.
For the beach, not
for the beach. Well, the
grandparents
too, of course. I love my grandparents, and I wish they had made it to Hawaii, but they never actually made it. So, sadly, I have to enjoy it for them.
Okay. So when you started exploring the nude beach in Florida, what do you see? Did you expect anything you've seen?
I tried to not have very many expectations going into the beach, but to be honest, I actually went to a resort before the beach, and that was the first experience. The resort led to the beach because of the people that I met immediately at the resort. And basically, yes, they walked me through this place as a first-timer, showed me what was available, and sort of just like said, well, there you go, enjoy, and this person's gonna, help you out right away, and show you or introduce you to other great people right away. And yeah, within the first hour, right away, I felt like I had friends that were pretty close, and they were inviting enough to say, hey, come play some volleyball in the pool, So there was just a group of people that was just so welcoming, and it was just a new experience because it's rare that I've ever walked into any clothed party with clothes on, where so many people were welcoming to you, just like, oh, be part of our group. And, it seemed like the opposite from what I experienced from other parties with clothes. So for everyone to be so welcoming right away and want to know who you are, it was kind of mind altering. And then within moments, your self-confidence sort of just starts to go to a whole new level, right? And then it just felt like a different version of myself by being able to be free.
Were you naked immediately at the resort?
I didn't have to be, but yes, right away. I just wanted to join right in. The first 5 to 10 minutes was probably the scariest. Yeah. But as soon as everyone makes you feel welcome and wants you to be part of what's going on, it became so much easier. And then by the time the first day was over, no one wanted to put clothes back on. It was hard to put it back on. Like, oh man, do we have to?
Yeah, it's definitely very free to be closed off.
Yes.
As I have experienced myself too.
It's quite a release, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
It's almost like a de-stressor for me now,
Okay.
Especially at the beach. Moving to the beach, it's just even better to be able to, take in the sounds of the ocean and be out there, like just, you're vulnerable, but at the same time, you feel powerful because you are. It's just present.
Yeah, I can definitely resonate with that. So, can you tell us a little more about the resort? Because I've never been there, and it sounds like a fancy place you go.
Actually, this resort in particular was probably the fanciest in that part of Florida. And they not only had short-term like hotels on the resort, but they also had long-term condos. So people were living there permanently as permanent residents, and some were like visitors that would stay for months at a time. And then some were just weekend visitors for the parties, because each weekend there'd be a themed party, and it would draw people from all over Central Florida, South Florida, and East and West sides alike. So it was kind of a big place. And then from there, you know, everyone kind of promotes the other places. So there were bigger volleyball tournaments in the next nudist colony over, and like literally the Super Bowl South is held there, where you may get 1,000 volleyball players playing naked volleyball. And that's pretty interesting.
Oh, sounds like a very tight community.
Yes, I think it is actually, because once you've been to a few of them, you start to notice people go everywhere. As long as there's an event going on, like they'll keep on traveling for those events, and the community of very like-minded people.
So what happened next after the resort visit? Did you stay in Florida to explore longer?
No, I was only there for a short time, so I experienced it. Went back about 3 times during my 2 or 3 week stay. But yeah, after that, it just became the search for more beaches and other places. And since I didn't live in that part of Florida, I looked around in New York for places and things, and there were a few, but it didn't have the same feel as Florida, especially during the winter. Too cold to do the nudist thing. So it kind of faded until I got to a warm climate.
Yeah. So in that sense, Hawaii is the perfect climate for nudist all year.
Yeah. I don't like to consider myself a nudist, though. I feel like that label has implications to it.
What implications do you think it is?
That nudists sort of are creepy, or like maybe overly sexual or something. And for some reason, the picture in most people's minds are like fat old people that are just like kind of gross to look at in some ways, right? Is that sort of the whole thing? Like, oh, the beaches only have those people, and I don't want that. So I feel like the nudist label is sort of the wrong way to go about it.
Would you label yourself in any way, or you just don't want any labels?
I like the word free, just freedom. Maybe a freedom fighter. How about that?
That's cool, yeah. So, since you're not considering a nudist, what do you think about people like considering themselves a nudist? Do you think they're...
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion of themselves first, I hope, you know, before they outjudge others. So if someone wants to label themselves a nudist, cool, awesome. But I don't know, it's just a label that I don't care for on myself from the outside perspective.
I understand. Okay. So how does people around you react to you being naked? Sometimes.
Most people with the, oh my God, first. But then if it's someone who's naturally like me, then they kind of just know.
They know.
And you can almost feel that when you meet some people. Like, oh, well, they're just like that. They're just like me. Okay, cool. We're in the same, you know, in the same boat. So. Yeah, I feel like, so I'm very careful, especially around new guests from new countries, and you know, I have to be very careful in the career that I've chosen as a super host over here, and choosing when I can walk around. Right,
because you also run an Airbnb.
You can't be the creepy one. You can't be the nudist running around with the label. So
Have you encountered any awkward situations with the Airbnb guests? Yeah,
of course. I don't want to talk too much about them, but yeah, there's just been times where using the outdoor shower, someone pops in like, oh, sorry about that. And I'm like, it's okay. On my side, it's okay. I don't know how you feel about it.
Right.
But like then, you know, they may go and leave a review, and like some people might not like that review. So.
Do you feel it's a bias against people being nude in general? Or?
Kind of yes and kind of no. It just depends on what cultures you grew up in, you know, and what your family sort of programmed you to think growing up, because I feel all children run around naked until they're about 5. I feel like that's the age that most families start to program the kids to put clothes on. Go get some clothes on. It's not appropriate anymore. But maybe that's because, you know, the developmental stage is different for each kid, and, you know, each family just treats it differently. You know, but then all of a sudden, I think somewhere in the teenage years, it turns a sexual twist on it. If you're naked, it must mean sex. So then it becomes very difficult to go back to that child state of mind and just be free.
Yeah, that's a lot of... there's a lot of misconceptions about nudity, that it's highly linked with sex.
Absolutely,
or like exposure, or sometimes even immoral. People think it's immoral to be naked, and people have so much shame about it.
And that has something to do with the religion too, that you've been brought up in. And this, you know, again, your programming.
It's interesting you mentioned kids as being nude until they're 5, but from my observation, people are less and less inclined to having their kids exposed, even at this young. Like little girls, I see them having dresses on the beach all the time, even when they're really little.
Interesting.
It's not really a common thing for me to see like little girls being naked anymore.
Little girls, I think maybe less, but I definitely see a lot of naked boys running around. Right here in Hawaii, everywhere.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, that's not fair.
Yeah, maybe that's the difference.
Waikiki. It's all Moana. It's all over. Parents just strip their kids off and they're just running around naked. I'm like, hey, all right, cool. But it's not fair. Like sometimes I want to do that too, but it's inappropriate for us adults in certain places.
Yeah.
So.
What are the things you like to do nude?
Well, another question. I like to shower nude.
Yeah, of course, everyone does.
Now, I developed a beach party basically that we set up the volleyball net, and I feel like volleyball is one of the perfect sports for being able to socialize in a nude environment and play something very active in the sand and still not have contact. It's a non-contact sport.
No physical contact.
Yeah, there's no physical contact needed with your teammates or the opposing team, but it still can be played at a very high level and very aggressive. Women and men are very equal in the sport. So, like, it happens to be a place where I can put 12 people, 6 people on each team, and they can play naked against each other and still come out, like, as everybody's a winner because they just did something amazing.
Yeah.
And then, like, the next teams want to join in, you know, and it's just like it becomes a social environment that you start to feel comfortable in your own skin, you know, and it just helped me to sort of develop this thing where now we get to do it at least once a month, set it up, and, you know, we get a few players to play. That's awesome. If we get a lot of players to play, it's even better.
Yeah, I participate in Dave's volleyball games. I feel it's so easy to set up, first of all, and like so organic. You just invite people in, and people can drop out anytime if you don't feel like it. Yeah. And it's not a lot of techniques involved. You don't have to be a good player, and women and guys can play it all the time. And yeah, it's also fun to see the bodies like bouncing up and down, like dashing, and actually, you know, scooping up all the sand in your bikini stuff, because girls wear bikinis usually. It allows all the sand to just kind of come out naturally the way it should, you know, versus like piling it up. And even in my shorts, sometimes I'm just carrying around 2 pounds of sand after diving in the sand and playing the volleyball and stuff. So it's just a little bit more freeing. And you get too hot if you're having clothes on playing, so... Naked is the best way. Yeah, it's an interesting way. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. You also doing bike ride naked, right? We've done some midnight bike rides naked around the area. Yes, I think our largest group was maybe 10 bikes. Oh wow! Kind of riding around, you know, the town area. We did ride by some police officers and some other people walking on the sidewalk and some cars driving by, and like usually it's just that look of shock, like what? It's midnight and there's 10 people riding bicycles naked. What's going on here? And some people are like in shock, and some people are like, hey, let me get my bike, I'll be right there. You know, and they jump right in, which is kind of weird. That did happen once. Yeah. Well, so what's the motivation of you doing all these stuff, like organizing people to having fun? What's in it for you? What's in it for me?
I get to like just be a kid again, you know, and just sort of do all the fun things I always wanted to do when I was younger, but maybe I was too afraid, you know, or I didn't have the friends or the people available to share the experience with. I would do things alone, but I would always do it alone. So now, like with the event, I at least have a few people share the experience who want to be there. Doing it naked just spins a whole new twist to it, you know, and then for the most part, it's a fear factor, you know, you get past your biggest fear, and then your dreams can't be that far away after that, because, you know, a lot of people just fear the things they have to do in order to achieve their dreams. I think it's just one step to really getting the self-confidence moving.
Yeah, speaking of fear, I think people have different fears about being naked. Like for me, as a girl, there's definitely the fear of, like, what if people judge my body? What if people are creepy? Like, guys are being creepy. Or what if, like...
Guys are going to be creepy either way, whether you can be in a refrigerator box, like, with little holes cut out for your hands and legs, and just walk around, and guys are still going to be like, damn. Check out how tight that girl's box is. People are going to be creepy. I'm just saying. You have to get over that fear that it's not about you, or it's them. They're the ones that have a problem.
Yeah, I feel like after I took my clothes off, it's all about, like, being naked by myself. It's not about, like, showing my body or, like, seeing, like, looking at other bodies.
It's not a sexual
it's
thing.
Not...
You actually tend to look at people's faces more often and talk to their face.
Yeah, exactly.
And it actually... I think connects people better in some ways. Yeah.
I'm surprised you would say people would be creepy all the time, because from my experience, I don't feel people are creepy at all.
I've been venturing up and down Waikiki Beach in Hawaii for over 5 years. Most of the time I rarely wear a shirt, and sometimes just the smaller shorts. And people are creepy on me. As even a guy, you know, whether there's people taking pictures, you know, or just, you know, snapping me on Snapchat and putting like why are they creeping on me like that?
Well, you're attractive first of all, and it's not a usual thing for attractive guys to, like, be so exposed, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. In some ways, well, I tend to do see a lot of the gay men, or the flamboyant gay men. Actually, they expose themselves around here quite often, so I think that's why I get confused for that. I mean, I'm just trying to be as colorful as I can and really kind of live outside of my own box. You know, I don't want to walk around in fear anymore, and there's nothing to fear. And it's usually just the judgment of others and how they look at me.
Right.
The only thing that really kind of bothers me personally is when people will take photos of me and then post them on, say, their Facebook page, and then, like, chat about me that way. Like, I think that's dirty. Like,
do you mean post your naked pictures? Or?
I haven't really found the people doing any naked pictures, but even just, like, at certain beaches where I play volleyball, and they might take pictures of me in certain shorts that I wear, or certain outfits that I wear, just so they can kind of use me as a joke in their own personal media, and that's where I get a little offended, maybe, or offensive. Maybe that's the right word.
Were you aware when they were taking pictures?
Yeah, actually, and then that's when I just stand up for myself and say, please do not, please, you know, and I will talk to their face and just be direct. So that's, I think, helped in the long run to weed out a lot of bad friends.
So we're actually heading up to a nudist beach party, sun club parties.
Yeah,
that's what we call them.
It's considered sun club here in Hawaii, and for those who look for it, it's on the internet in certain ways, and that's how Amber, the host, actually is able to get more and more people to try it out for the first time, and, you know, come and go. She always has fresh faces, fresh new people, because people come here looking for this type of event, and then they're open to checking it out.
How long have you been involved in this event?
Within the first year that I was here, someone had mentioned it to me. They said it wasn't their cup of tea, but hey, maybe you'll like it. And I was like, you know what, I'll check it out. And at that time, she had a beachfront property, and the back of the house is open to the ocean. So that's kind of where I went swimming or surfing naked first. And then I was able to see the house from the ocean, and I was the only one on the break. And, like, basically, as soon as the balcony or lanai was full of guests, I'm like, all right, let's go get back to the party. And, you know, and it was just a great way to come back from the ocean into a whole house full of rad people, and, just network. And since then, it's gotten bigger. changed locations, and it also added boat parties and this beach event that I'm doing, and, the other Freedom House, and just through the network, it's grown as a community.
The community is getting bigger and bigger. So, did you get nervous when you first went there for the party? Or?
My very first time? I don't think I was nervous, no.
Because you were...
I'd already been rehearsed in the type of thing going on. It was just the first time I was in like a mansion, like sort of like I would compare it to say a small Playboy mansion where Hugh Hefner would always have parties with lots of nudity going on. So that's kind of what I compared it to on a smaller scale.
Okay.
And it was just really rad. I ended up going back a lot. And met a lot of cool people, brought up a lot of cool people, and exposed a lot of friends to it as well.
So you were pretty comfortable with yourself being nude?
By that time, yeah.
In the public?
That had been almost 9 years since 2007. I guess 2007 was my first time, so.
Okay. I remember the first time we went, me and my husband were, like, nude the first time in front of other people, like, in a non-sexual way, I guess. So it was kind of nervous for us.
That was your first time?
Yeah, that was first time last October,
That was when we initially met,
yes. Yeah. That's how we met, so it was a magical place for people to meet and
absolutely.
like talk, and it's not really... I feel like as soon as you take all of your clothes off, it's a great equalizer. Like, everyone is the same. Yeah. You don't have a lot of power over the other person, and you just feel more open, more genuine in general. That's it for me. So,
I agree.
So we really adapt quickly to the community, really well, and we attended your parties as well. It was really a lot of fun.
Well, as a new person, you're exploring all your options.
I would say so.
What I did as well when I first got here. But when I noticed there weren't many options, I do what I can to help create more options.
Right. So I know most people are just being there to enjoy themselves, but have you ever encountered any people with bad intentions or wrong intentions at the Sun Club?
At the Sun Club?
Yeah.
In particular, the Sun Club, there's been a few bad eggs coming and going. I find that it's usually a younger guy or like a more aggressive style guy, but it doesn't. It's also been a few of the older women too. Because like the younger guys, some of the older women are going there as single and looking to just grab something of a younger piece of meat, if you know what I mean. So there's been a few older women that even got a little over-aggressive on me. And I'm just like, whoa, slow down, and like, it's just weird to have to do that sometimes, especially when alcohol gets involved. I feel like some people get more aggressive toward the end of the night with this particular party.
What would you do about it?
Again, voice my own opinion and be strong with what I know is my feelings kind of thing. And if I'm not really attracted to you and you're coming on to me very strong like that, I'm just gonna put a wall up or whatever. But voice my opinion. Just be like, hey, this is not comfortable for me or whatever.
Right.
So not going to do something with you, and you have to be very straightforward with people, especially in that environment. But I've seen a couple of younger guys do some things that were inappropriate, and I wouldn't turn them in, so to speak, but I would definitely like kind of voice my opinion toward, hey, this is a non-sexual party. Just, mind your manners.
Yeah.
That type of thing. And
it's actually part of the rules to be non-sexual, as Amber has.
You can be playful, but non-sexual. You shouldn't be touching each other unless that person approves of it. You shouldn't be, too aggressive, even with how you're trying to pick them up,
Okay.
So, be flirty, yes, but don't be aggressive.
Right.
Sure.
I don't know about the flirting part. I try not to be, just because I try to separate like church and state in a sense. But what else is what other rules are there?
What other rules?
Yeah.
I don't really host the party. I really just think it's about respect of each other, more or less. So, So, and then respect the house as well. It's just an overall general respect for rules, I think. She's very open with a lot of stuff, but just in general, you know.
I also notice people would generally, especially girls, wear little cloths around their waist.
The sarong or
sarong, yeah. Yes. Just what is the intention of having that?
I think it's a step-by-step process for some of the new people, especially the first-timers.
Okay.
To feel comfortable even just being topless first before, you know, the end of the party that usually comes off in order to get in the pool or, you know, in order to do something else or sit down, like maybe they take it off and then, you know, enjoy the sun and actually get sun on their full body. So it's about just step-by-step process, I think, for women.
Okay.
Men don't really do it as much, but she doesn't really approve of it that way either. So men are just supposed to be naked right off the bat.
Oh.
We don't get the choice of the sarong. However, it's good to either carry a towel or a sarong if you're at any nude event anywhere, just to have something clean to sit on.
Okay.
I mean, it just makes sense. Your parts touching certain couches or seats or places you don't know what's there. You want to stay protected. So having a sarong or a towel is definitely a good thing for a guy or a girl. Yeah.
Is that a rule you see everywhere else in the resort?
Almost everywhere in this
community?
world, yeah.
Okay.
Wherever you go nude, it's usually a good idea to have something to sit down on.
Okay. Do you have your own rules for your parties, your beach parties and volleyball games?
No, since it's at the beach, I try not to put too many rules out there. I think the biggest rule is looking out for cameras. So if there's any unauthorized picture taking of the group or anyone in the group, male or female, like that's when I step in and I'll actually stop that or make sure they're not inappropriate or anyone's personal life is going to get put out there. You know, so that's kind of one of my biggest things.
Were you okay with kids around for nudity? Or?
There has been before. I've seen a couple of youngsters between 10 and 12, but usually it's the under 10 kids that are more likely to show up at nude events and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. What do they do? Or were they taken by their parents?
Yeah, usually it's a family outing.
Okay.
Like specifically the last Super Bowl of volleyball. It's called it's at Whitethorn and it's in Pittsburgh. So I had to fly all the way over to Pittsburgh and then travel another 2 hours out to the middle of the nowhere for this resort. But there was 1,000 people out there playing volleyball naked at this resort. And they have sand courts, they have grass courts, and they also have courts that are on the same as tennis courts. But you're playing outdoors. And a lot of the families bring their kids. So yeah, there's a lot of kids involved. And that ranged anywhere from like 5 to 10, and then the 10 to 15, 16, 17. Like there was quite a few teenagers there. Just playing volleyball at a beginner level, or just learning, or just being there in general, because it's an event more than just the volleyball. It's a party,
It's a party, yeah.
Everybody's camping out and sharing, barbecuing, and just a lot of people.
Right. It's people sometimes focus too much on the nudity itself. But it's more than that, as you said. It's more about loving and sharing and building a community and being more genuine to each other. It's what we're after all. Another misconceptions you talked about earlier is about guys being nude would get erection.
That's usually
that
a guy's
something
number one
would
fear.
happen?
As many guys as I've tried to promote this to, I think that just tends to be the guy's number one fear, their erection, and that's where the direct connection in their brain is going, nudity equals sex, and then they're just like, my boner is going to ruin it for everything, and I'm just like, well, there should not be a boner ever. Like you won't really get it until you start to sexualize the person you're talking to, from the first moment, like you're not sexualizing anyone, so you're never gonna get that boner until you start to sexualize someone. It's just like a fear for every guy, and almost like I said, the number one. Maybe the number two is like my size isn't the biggest. Like, it's not
for
about
guys,
size for guys.
Or for girls, like my body is not perfect enough.
Yeah.
related to all this body shame thing.
Yeah, the body shame, of course. But the cool thing is I've seen women show up there that are not perfect, and they're cover models, and I've even seen a woman where she went through breast surgery because of cancer, and she went from real breasts to no breasts to fake breasts, and then all of a sudden now she has fake nipples. And like, wow, like, and she's not afraid to like just be out there with what she had through the process. She survived cancer. It's the only body she has. Might as well use it.
Oh wow, that's very inspiring.
It's very interesting. And, to see the step-by-step process, sort of, and know who she is, and know that she's a cancer survivor too. It's radical.
Oh wow, she sounds like a very brave person.
Yes,
just to be out there.
Yeah, brave people, but at the same time, like, she just dodged death. So, what kind of fear, do you really have to live in now? None. So, that's kind of cool.
So, what would you react to guys who actually have an erection at certain events?
Well, you know what? It tends to happen on the dance floor more often than not.
Okay.
And I guess if you see one, you don't have to point it out, but I'm sure if it happens, just go ahead and take a deep breath, walk away, and take care
for
of
the
yourself.
guy, or for you.
You just have to step away from the dance floor. I think that's like one of the only places that I've seen it happen for other guys as well, where like, oh, see, you're just getting too intimate over there, buddy, and that's why the erection would probably happen. But for the most part, the rest of the party is not that, so the chance is less likely that you get the erection. So there should be no fear in any way.
Right. Even coming from a girl's point of view, I wouldn't really be offended by an erection, but when I see like...
Would you be complimented by it?
Well, I don't know if it's for me or not, but I definitely feel a little uncomfortable when I see guys masturbating on Polo Beach, nude beach.
I totally agree. Yes, I don't like that either. And like during my events, if that's going on, I may step in to make sure that's not being viewed either by anyone else.
Okay.
That's uncalled for. And if that's happening, that's also another environment you don't want children to be around.
Right.
That's the catch-22 of it, where you just, if you have a kid there and then something happens, like, you have to be able to, make sure the kid understands what really went down, and make sure the adult knows, hey, you know what, this is an event for the family. Like maybe keep your stuff to yourself too. So it's tough when you're at a beach though. At a house, in a controlled environment like that, it's a little bit easier. But at a beach, you don't know what to expect.
You don't know who's coming, who's not coming.
But I've been there and I've seen the guys doing that, and I don't like it either. Not a fan of that.
Yeah, I think they were actually ashamed of it. As soon as I saw them, they stopped. So I think they at least have a sense of what it makes other people feel. That's the best part of it. But as far as the actual thing going, I don't feel good at all.
What about witnessing sex at the beach?
I've never witnessed any.
No.
Have you ever? No?
Unfortunately, yes, I have.
Oh.
It was guy-on-guy sex, too. It was not appropriate.
Is it on Polo Beach?
That was... No, actually, that one was the South Shore Beach at Stand Island, which is more known for some of the guy-on-guy action.
Okay.
So that's why I have to be very careful when I do my parties out there for the events, volleyball and the slip and slide and stuff that we do. That beach can be tricky because some of the other guys that come out there for different purposes.
But they were not invited to the party.
They were not invited, but they just happened to show up at the beach at the right time.
Right.
And of course, I have to do something about that. I feel obligated as the host.
Right. So why do you think there's such a hang-up on nudism in our society?
Nowadays, it seems like with the media, if you're looking for it, you're actually going to see that it's growing, and that maybe a larger percentage of people are trying to get into this freedom movement, if you will, the nudist movement. There's big events like, say, Burning Man and stuff like that, where now thousands and thousands of people are coming, and hundreds of people are trying it out for the first time. And they bring it back to wherever they go, and then maybe they find other places. So it's actually, I think, growing if you're looking for it. But I just still think it's all programming, and the general public is programmed that nudity is still sexually together, like instead of separated. It's whether it's television, magazines, or just the random internet stuff. I don't know. I feel like this programming. And once you're coming up in your teenage years and you're programmed to that equals that, like you're kind of stuck in it until you decide to change and break your fear and try something new and see if it's for you or not. And it may not be for everyone, it may not be,
Have you ever tried to convince someone in your life?
I try to convince a lot of different people to just give it a shot, and I can't promise it's going to be their cup of tea, but I can't promise they're not going to like it. I mean, it might change them forever, and I actually have seen a few people where like a light bulb goes off in their head, and like not only are they now not afraid to be naked, but now they're not afraid to ask that girl out, and then get engaged, maybe married, start a family, start a new career. Like they all of a sudden go after something that they were afraid of, and like it's just funny. I've seen it happen a few times, and now they're just more comfortable with themselves and what they're doing, and I find a weird connection there. How does that happen?
Yeah.
That's my question. Is it just the fear? Like so many people live in that fear. If you get over one of your biggest fears, then all the other things should be easy. I don't know.
Yeah. So being naked is not the only fear we have.
No.
There's so many other like things we haven't tried because of fear. Yeah.
I used to fear karaoke growing up. Like I didn't want to get up on stage and sing American style in front of all these other people because I can't sing. Absolutely. But now I'm just like, fuck it. I don't care. I'm just going to sing. You're going to have to listen to me for 4.5 minutes. And that's it. There we go.
Yeah. Haters going to hate.
Haters going to hate. I don't care how bad my voice is. Just deal with it. Next song, the next one's going to be better.
That's powerful. It's powerful for yourself to do things you want.
Yeah, public speaking, another one. I didn't want to be a public speaker, but now I don't mind kind of getting up on stage and sort of being able to talk about a subject that I'm familiar with.
Okay.
So that's a lot more comfortable for me as well. And it's just a stepping process of doing it the first time, and just like a nudist party, going the first time, enjoying it, going another time, and becoming more comfortable each time. It's kind of magical.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so this is like a touristy related question. What are the local places we can explore nudism here in Hawaii? Where do you recommend?
Well, that's quite limited, actually.
Yeah.
The first things people usually do is look it up as a nude beach and find that Polo Beach is one of the first things that will pop up when you're kind of looking the way most people do through the internet. So make that your first one. Just go check out a nude beach, and even if it's just taking your clothes off real quick, jumping in the water just to experience it, coming out, drying off, and leaving. At least you tried it. Been there, done that. But there aren't many other places unless you can find another like secluded beach, and then if you're by yourself, there is no law that's going to say, hey, you're by yourself, you can't be naked, so go ahead and go for it. I've seen a few others do surfing at under the full moon during the summer naked.
Wow.
They do that. But Amber's Party, the Sun Club, that's another one. If you're looking up for something to do, that's one of the only other events. She's been doing it for well over 10 years. She's well established in the community, and she's the only other one doing the naked cruise as well. So she does put a boat together. All these things are going to be seasonal, but the Sun Club is the only consistent one other than the beach. So, I mean, that's kind of the sad part. Hawaii doesn't have a whole lot going on yet. Okay. It's still in developmental stages. But if you want to travel to Maui, they do probably have the biggest and best beach for nudists called Little Beach on the south side, and it's large enough to set up volleyball nets, so I enjoy going there myself. And it's quite a community of people that live on Maui going there, and then tourists that want to go there and do it. And it's like you see a lot of first-timers come and go, but there's very few things there to connect people, like the party. So that's why I bring the volleyball and try to connect people. So that's probably your best Hawaiian nudist beach right there is Maui.
Okay.
So for us in Oahu, it's different.
Do you feel like people in mainland, like the nudism there, are more popular or more
I just think
connected?
They have more choices. Mainland definitely has more choices.
Oh, really?
Whether you're on the West Coast, East Coast, Canada. Canada actually has a lot of nudist resorts or places to go.
Really?
And it's just like, it's more of a summer thing because very few of them want to go out there and be polar bears and swim in 30-degree water.
Right.
So.
That's another misconception. People think nudists are nude the entire year, even when it's cold.
There are some that can do it.
Really?
I cannot. That's why I definitely moved from a northern state to Hawaii. Yes. Here it's a little easier, but even this last few weeks it's been pretty chilly. And I actually put pants on and a shirt. I did.
Strange for you.
Strange for me. But yeah, it's funny.
Okay. And I noticed there's a little nude beach in your own Airbnb backyard that you set it up, right?
It is a sign that says toward the nude beach, and it has an arrow. It doesn't really specify where it is. There's a few other signs that say like no clothes beyond this point, and you know, may encounters and stuff like that. But I think some of the guests that stay here kind of just see it as a novelty thing, and they don't really take it literally. So I don't know. I don't really warn them. I just try not to do it while there's guests at the house. Still keep it kind of private. But because this place is like a little jungle and it's kind of private from neighbors, I can do it when I know no one's around.
Yeah, so I can talk a little bit about my experience after I joined the nudist community. I definitely feel more free, as you said, and I feel more connected with other people with the clothes off. I don't know, I feel like normally you go to beaches, you don't really talk to other people. Like there's a invisible wall between each other.
Everyone wants their private spaces.
Yeah, private place.
Beaches usually. Yeah, that's something I'm trying to change.
Right.
So it brings people together a little bit
changed
more.
the whole dynamic of things, and people are just seeing each other differently and more open. And yeah, it's the simplest ideas we're striving for, but there's always a different view of nudist behaviors.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, it's sort of a pigeonhole that they put you in as a nudist. And it's like, oh, it's not fair because not all nudists are exactly alike, you know? I guess that's all I can really say on that. Everyone's definitely different. It's just once someone experiences that type of freedom, they tend not to go back, you know? It's sort of something you sort of move forward
You
from.
see a lot of people moving towards nudists, not the other way around.
Yeah, I feel like it's once you cross that barrier, you don't usually go back. You're just like, oh, no, I'm totally more free now than I was before. And I think most people will change and just stay that way.
Is there anything else you want to communicate to our audience? Like our audience in China? Because it's a kind of secluded territory for nudists.
Just like anything else, like food, you got to try it before you deny it. Kind of like my family was afraid of sushi until they finally tried some sushi, and now they kind of like it. But they had this fear of sushi, the raw fish, for so many years that it stopped them from exploring anything else. So once they finally tried it and then realized that they like it, like, wow, what else out there is like that? Where I have to try it, you know.
Cool.
You have to try it first.
That's a good metaphor.
I mean, go to a beach and you don't like it, all right. But try another beach, or try a different event, or try a different resort. I feel like the resorts are popular just because everyone's a like mindset, kind of like the Sun Club event. everyone wants to be there, and everyone enjoys meeting new people like that, and it just becomes an environment that's a positive environment for you to be in for your first time.
Yeah. Me too. I would recommend an organized event if you want to try nudism for the first time, just to feel more safe and relaxed. Okay. Cool. As our interview coming to an end, I want to thank you, David, for coming join us.